There's a voice that lives inside all of us. You know the one? It's the voice that speaks to you in the dark, quiet moments. When the alarm clock goes off and your bed feels like the only safe place in the world, it's the voice that whispers, "It's just 5 more minutes." It's there on mile 2 of a run when your lungs start to burn, and it says, "This is good enough. Why push it? Let's just go home." It's the voice that looks at a big project, a difficult conversation, a dream you've held onto for years, and it builds a wall, a comfortable, reasonable wall made of excuses. You're too tired, you're not ready, maybe tomorrow. What if you fail? We listen to that voice. We obey it. We think it's our voice. We think it's protecting us, keeping us safe from pain, from failure, from embarrassment. But what if it's not? What if that voice is the very thing holding you captive? What if it's a governor placed on your soul, designed to keep you from ever discovering what you're actually capable of? What if the moment you feel like you are completely, utterly spent, the moment you want to quit more than anything in the world, is not your limit? What if it's just the 40% mark? What would your life look like if you could learn to silence that voice, to walk right through that wall, to tell it to shut up and keep going? That's not just a hypothetical question. One man made it his life's mission to find out, and his story is a brutal, terrifying, and beautiful roadmap for how you can do it too. The story is called "Can't Hurt Me," and the man is David Goggins. Now, if you've heard of him, you probably think of a yelling, hard-as-nails Navy SEAL who runs impossible distances on broken legs. And you're not wrong. But that's the highlight reel. That's the destination. This book, this journey we're about to take, it's not about that. It's about the starting line. It's about a scared, broken kid who stuttered, who suffered unimaginable abuse, who was staring down a future where he was destined to be a statistic. It's about a young man who was lost, overweight, and spraying for cockroaches for a living, with a dream that seemed laughable to everyone, including himself. This isn't a book of quick-fix motivation. Motivation is flimsy. It comes and goes. This is a book about building something permanent inside of you, an armored mind. It's a story so raw, so honest, it makes you uncomfortable, because in his reflection, you can't help but see your own excuses, your own comfort zones, your own accountability mirror, as he calls it. I didn't just read this book, I felt it. It's a book you argue with, a book that makes you angry, and a book that ultimately holds up a mirror and forces you to ask one of the hardest questions there is. What am I truly capable of? It teaches you that the most powerful weapon on the planet is the human will, but only when it's forged in fire. And David Goggins is going to walk us through the furnace. His life and the lessons he pulls from it are laid out in 11 stages. 11 battles he fought, both inside and out. Our journey will follow this path. Chapter 1. I should have been a statistic. Chapter 2. Truth hurts. Chapter 3. The impossible task. Chapter 4. Taking souls. Chapter 5. The armored mind. Chapter 6. It's not a race. Chapter 7. The most powerful weapon. Chapter 8. Talent not required. Chapter 9. Uncommon amongst uncommon. Chapter 10. The empowerment of failure. And finally, Chapter 11. What if? These aren't just chapter titles. They are invitations. They are challenges. They are the steps to building a life that you own. Let's take a deep breath, settle in. Let's go on a journey. One chapter at a time. Chapter 1. I should have been a statistic. Our journey begins not on a race course or in a military barracks, but in a small town, in a house that was supposed to be a home. It begins in the dark. For a young David Goggins, darkness wasn't just the absence of light. It was a presence. It was the sound of his father's car pulling into the driveway late at night. It was the silence before a storm of violence. It was the texture of fear itself. Imagine being a little boy, responsible for your mother and brother, standing guard while they tried to sleep, listening for the footsteps that meant the monster was home. Imagine a father who wasn't a protector, but the very thing you needed protection from. A man who used his fists and his belt to teach lessons in terror, not love. This was his normal, pure, unfiltered hell. Add to that the poison of racism, words hurled at him like stones in a town where he was one of the only black faces. Add a learning disability that made school a daily ritual of humiliation, stutter that trapped his words in his throat, and the toxic stress that literally started to make his hair fall out and patches of his skin lose its color. This isn't just a sad story. It's a formula. It's a recipe for a broken human being. By any and all metrics, David Goggins should have been a statistic. Another life derailed by trauma. Another soul crushed by the circumstances he was born into. The world had dealt him a hand of cards so awful, so full of jokers and ghosts, that anyone would have understood if he had just folded. But this story and this book exists for one reason. He didn't. And his first lesson, the foundation for everything that comes after, is found right here in the wreckage of his childhood. He gives us the first challenge. He tells us to do the one thing we're all taught to avoid. He tells us to stop running from our past, to stop hiding our disadvantages. Instead, we must face them. He calls it challenge number 1. Acknowledge your bad hand. Grab a piece of paper, a journal, the notes app on your phone, and write it all down. Every single thing that you believe is holding you back. It's the family you came from, the money you don't have, the education you didn't get, the genetics you think are working against you, the trauma, the insecurities, the fears. Don't pretty it up. Don't soften the language. Write it down with brutal, unflinching honesty. It's an exercise in self-pity. It is the opposite. It's not about making excuses. It's about eliminating them. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to look at. You cannot navigate a battlefield you pretend doesn't exist. Your list. That is your starting line. That is the battlefield. By writing it down, you're not giving it power. You're taking the power back. You are saying, this is what I'm up against. I see it. I own it. And now, I will find a way to move forward, not in spite of it, but through it. That is the first step. To look into the abyss and not blink. Chapter 2. Truth Hurts. After escaping the hell of his childhood, Goggins finds himself in a new kind of prison. One of his own making. He's a young man now, free from his father. But he's adrift. He's nearly 300 pounds, working a dead-end job spraying for cockroaches, living on milkshakes and donuts. His dream of joining the Air Force pararescue is a distant, laughable memory. He's become soft, complacent, a master of the easy road. And he blames everyone. He blames the past. He blames his genetics. He blames the world for the hand it dealt him. That list from Chapter 1, he's living it as his excuse. We all know this feeling, don't we? It's easier to point a finger outward than to turn it inward. It's easier to say, I can't because of them, or that, or the system. One night, after a shower, he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror, bloated, unhappy, a ghost of the man he wanted to be. And in that moment, something breaks. The lies he's been telling himself crumble under the weight of the miserable truth. He realizes his father isn't in the room anymore. The racists from his childhood aren't holding him down. The only person stopping David Goggins is David Goggins. And this brings us to one of the most powerful and uncomfortable ideas in the entire book. Challenge number 2, the accountability mirror. This isn't about affirmations. This isn't about looking in the mirror and saying you're a champion. This is about war. Goggins grabbed a razor and shaved his head. He looked himself dead in the eye, and he spoke the truth. Out loud. You're fat, David. You're lazy. You're a liar. He got sticky notes. On one, he wrote his goal. Become a Navy SEAL, an impossible dream for a 291-pound man who hated the water. On the other notes, he wrote the tactical steps. Lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months? Go for a run. Study for the entrance exam. He plastered them on his mirror. And from that day forward, the mirror was no longer for grooming. It was a meeting with his boss. A boss who demanded 100% accountability. Every single day he had to face himself and report his progress. He had to tell himself the truth. Did you run today? Did you study? Or did you make excuses? This is the task he gives us. To create our own accountability mirror. What is your goal? The real one. It's the one you're scared to say out loud. Write it on a sticky note. And then write down the ugly truths. The things you've been avoiding. Soft habits. The lies you tell yourself. You scroll for hours instead of working on your business. You say you want to be healthy, but you eat junk food every night. You say you want a better relationship, but you don't put in the effort. Talk to yourself. Have the hard conversation. Be brutally, painfully honest. Because the truth It does hurt. It stings. But it's the only thing that can cauterize the wound of mediocrity. It's the only thing that sets you free. You have to destroy the person you are to build the person you want to become. That demolition starts at the mirror. Chapter 3. The Impossible Task. Honesty is one thing. Action is another. Goggins has his goal. Navy SEALs. He has his truth. He is woefully, dangerously unprepared. He needs to lose over 100 pounds. He needs to pass a difficult academic test. He needs to overcome a deep-seated fear of water. The path from A to B looks impossible. It is an impossible task. And here he reveals a secret of the universe that most of us spend our lives trying to avoid. The path to growth is paved with things you do not want to do. Our entire modern world is designed for comfort. Food delivered to our door, entertainment on demand, algorithms that learn what we like and give us more of it. We are conditioned to seek pleasure and avoid pain, to take the path of least resistance. Goggins realized that this conditioning was his enemy. The voice in his head that begged for comfort was the same voice that had kept him fat and miserable. So he declared war on it. He intentionally made his life harder. He chose to do the things he hated every single day. He hated running, so he ran. Hated swimming, so he swam. Hated studying, so he studied until his brain throbbed. He learned that motivation is garbage. It's a fleeting emotion. You will never be motivated to do the things that are truly hard. What you need is discipline. Discipline is doing it anyway. It's waking up when the alarm goes off. Not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. It's putting on your running shoes when it's cold and dark. Not because you're excited, but because it's on the schedule. This is challenge number 3. Step outside your comfort zone. Goggins asks us to look at our daily lives and identify the patterns of comfort. The snooze button, the elevator instead of the stairs, the mindless scrolling, the easy way out. And then do the opposite. Pick something you don't want to do and do it. Make your bed perfectly the second you get out of it. Take a cold shower. Clean the kitchen sink when you're tired. Go to the gym when you'd rather watch TV. These small, daily acts of discipline are like calluses for your mind. You are purposefully adding friction to your life. You're teaching that soft, whiny voice inside you that it is no longer in charge. You are. Every time you choose discomfort over comfort, you are casting a vote for a new identity. You are forging a will that is not dependent on how you feel. The impossible task is not accomplished in one giant leap. It is accomplished by 1,000 small, uncomfortable steps taken day after day after day. You don't need to feel good to get going. You just need to go. Chapter 4. Taking souls. Goggins makes it through the initial weight loss. He passes the test. He gets into the Navy. He is on his way to basic underwater demolition. SEALs training, also known as Bud S. Hell on Earth. He arrives and is immediately surrounded by physical specimens, college athletes, lifelong swimmers, men who look like they were born to be there. And then there's him, the guy who just scraped by, the underdog. He could be intimidated. He could feel like an imposter. Instead, he develops a new mindset. A mindset so savage, so relentless that it becomes his greatest weapon, he calls it. King Souls. This isn't about being a bully. It's not about trash talk. It is a philosophy of psychological warfare, waged through pure, unadulterated work ethic. He saw the instructors, the ones whose job it was to break the trainees. He saw his fellow competitors. He knew they all had a voice in their head too, a voice that wanted to quit. His goal was simple: outwork them so completely, so thoroughly, his effort would get inside their head and fuel their own desire to quit. When the instructors would yell, "Get wet and sandy," the other recruits would moan and groan. Goggins would sprint to the freezing ocean, dive in, and come back covered in sand before the instructor even finished the sentence. When everyone else was jogging, he was sprinting. When they were shivering, he was asking for more. He was showing them that their pain, their ceiling, was his warm-up. He wasn't trying to beat them. He was trying to break their will to compete. He was taking their soul. This is challenge number 4. Choose your competition and take their soul. Think about your own life. Who is your competition? It might be a person at work vying for the same promotion. It might be another company in your market. It might even be the version of yourself from yesterday. Now, study them. Find their perceived advantage. Then, resolve to outwork them in every conceivable way. If they stay an hour late at the office, you stay too. If they make 20 sales calls, you make 40. If they pride themselves on their talent, you will overwhelm them with your relentless, obsessive preparation. This is not about them. It is about you. It is about using competition as fuel. It's about finding that extra gear you didn't know you had. You don't say a word. Your work does the talking. Your excellence becomes a psychological weight on your competition. You show them, through your actions alone, that you are willing to go to a place they are not, that you simply will not be stopped. It's a dark art, but it's fueled by light. It's a light of your own potential. Find someone who doubts you, who stands in your way, and let their very existence be the fire that forges you into a weapon. Go to war with them in your mind, and win it with your work. Chapter 5. The Armored Mind. Work ethic is the engine. But the most powerful engine is useless without a steering wheel. Goggins is in the midst of hell wicca 5.5-day stretch of continuous brutal training with a maximum of 4 hours of total sleep. It's designed to break the strongest men. Most will quit. He sees men with more talent, more physical strength, wash out. Why? Because their minds broke before their bodies did. Goggins survives not just because he's tough, but because he's prepared. He has cultivated a tool that allows him to control his own mind in the face of chaos. He calls it the armored mind, and the primary technique he uses to build it is visualization. This is not the soft, feel-good visualization of just picturing success. This is a much grittier, more practical process. Before Hell Week even began, Goggins would sit in a quiet room and visualize the entire ordeal in excruciating detail. But he didn't just see himself succeeding, he saw himself failing. He pictured the water being colder than he could imagine. He pictured his muscles cramping, his skin chafing raw. He pictured the instructor screaming in his face, telling him he was worthless. He pictured the feeling of utter exhaustion, the overwhelming desire to ring the bell and quit. And then, in his mind, he would calmly work through it. He would visualize himself finding a solution. He would develop a response. Okay, the water is freezing. What do? I focus on my breathing. I think about my goal. Okay, I'm exhausted. What do? I access my cookie jar. Okay, the instructor is yelling. I will use his energy as my fuel. He was anticipating the ambush. He was building contingency plans for every possible point of failure. This is challenge number 5. Visualize the mission. Whatever your Hell Week is, a huge presentation. A marathon, a difficult conversation, launching a business, you must visualize it. Sit down and think through the entire process. But don't just daydream about the trophy at the end. Go to the dark places. What are all the things that could go wrong? What are the obstacles? Where are you most likely to fail or want to quit? Imagine the feeling of that moment, the panic, the doubt. Now, create a plan. How will you respond? What thought will you replace the doubt with? What action will you take? Rehearse your performance, including the difficult parts, over and over in your mind. By the time the real event happens, you will have already lived it 100 times. So shock and panic will be gone because you anticipated it. You have a plan. You have armored your mind against the inevitable chaos. Success is not an accident. It is a product of obsessive preparation, both physical and mental. Your mind is a battlefield. Armor it before you step into the fight. Chapter 6. It's not a race. In the deepest, darkest moments of pain during his training, and in the ultramarathons he would later run, Goggins needed a source of fuel, a place to go when willpower wasn't enough. He didn't look to others for motivation, looked inward. He looked to his past. He created a concept he calls the cookie jar. Imagine a giant, imaginary cookie jar in your mind. Now fill it. Fill it with every single victory you've ever had, every obstacle you've ever overcome. Remember that bad hand list from Chapter 1? The cookie jar is its triumphant opposite. Did you survive a difficult childhood? That's a cookie. Did you finally stand up to someone who was bullying you? Cookie. Did you lose those first 10 pounds? Big cookie. Did you pass a test you thought you would fail? Get the cookie. Did you finish a project when you wanted to quit? Cookie. These are not just feel-good memories. They are proof. They're undeniable evidence of your own resilience. They are a reminder of who you are when life gets hard. This is challenge number 6. Build your cookie jar. Just like with the accountability mirror, you make this tangible. Write it down. Create a list. Don't be humble. Don't discount the small victories. It's the time you got up when the alarm went off. The time you chose the salad over the fries. The time you were kind when you wanted to be angry. Every single one is a testament to your strength. Why? Because there will come a time when you are deep in the struggle. You'll be on mile 20 of a marathon, or in year 3 of building your business, or just facing a day that feels too heavy to bear. And that voice will come back, whispering, "You can't do this. You're not strong enough. It's time to quit." In that moment, you don't argue with it. You don't try to reason with it. You simply reach into your cookie jar. You pull out a memory. You remind yourself, "I remember when I thought I couldn't survive that night, but I did. I remember when I thought I'd fail that exam, but I studied and I passed. I remember when I wanted to quit that workout, but I found one more rep." You remind that voice, and more importantly, you remind yourself of the simple truth. You have felt this before. You have survived. You have overcome. You have won. That cookie gives you a little taste of victory, a little hit of sugar for the soul. It's just enough to get you to take one more step, and then another and another. Your past is not a weight that holds you down. It is a well of strength that you can draw from forever. Fill your cookie jar, and you will never be truly empty. Chapter 7. The Most Powerful Weapon. We have arrived at the core thesis of this entire book. The central idea that, if you truly understand it, will change the way you look at effort, pain, and human potential forever. Goggins is running his first 100-mile race. He's not a runner. He's doing it on a whim, to qualify for another more prestigious race. He is completely, catastrophically unprepared. Around mile 70, his body gives out. His feet are broken. He is urinating blood. Every cell in his body is screaming, begging him to stop. He sits down on the side of the trail, defeated. His crew tells him it's over. His mind agrees. He is done. Absolutely, 100% finished. This feeling. We have all felt a version of it, the point where the wall seems solid. The tank is completely empty. The point of "I literally cannot go on." But as he sits there, something Goggins had learned in his military training bubbles up. A piece of knowledge that he now believes is the most powerful weapon on Earth. He calls it the 40% rule. The rule is simple. When your mind is telling you that you are done, that you are completely exhausted, that you cannot possibly go any further, you are actually only at 40% of what your body is truly capable of. Let that sink in. That feeling of being completely and utterly spent, it is not your limit. That is just the first wall. It's a governor, a safety mechanism installed by our brains, which are designed for one thing: to keep us alive and conserve energy. Your brain doesn't care about your dreams or your goals. It cares about survival, so it sends the quit signal long before you are in any real danger. Oh, the 40% rule is the knowledge that there is a vast, untapped reserve of energy and grit on the other side of that signal.
Wow.
Another 60%. Sitting there on the side of the trail, Goggins realizes this. He knows that his mind is playing tricks on him. It's a liar. Gets up. He hobbles. He walks. He finishes the last 30 miles. This is challenge number 7. Push past the 40%. This isn't a challenge you write down. It's one you live. The next time you are working out, and you think you can't do another rep, do 3 more. The next time you are running, and you want to stop, run to 1 more lamppost. The next time you are studying, and your brain feels like mush, read 1 more chapter. When you hit that wall, I want you to smile, because you now know a secret. You can whisper to yourself, "Ah, there it is, the 40% mark. Good to see you. Now let's see what's on the other side." This is the process of callousing your mind. Each time you push past that 40% feeling, you reset the baseline. Your governor starts to understand that you are in charge now. Your comfort zone expands. Your capacity for work grows. This is the heart of what it means to be uncommon. It's the ability to find more when everyone else, including the voice in your own head, believes there is nothing left. The 40% rule is not just a concept, it is a key. And it unlocks a version of you that you have not yet met. Chapter 8. Talent not required. So you have the mindset, you have the 40% rule, you have the cookie jar. But how do you apply this in the real world, day after day? How do you find the time to be great? We all have the same 24 hours, yet some people seem to build empires, while others can't seem to get their laundry done. The difference is not talent, it's not magic, it's structure. Goggins learned this when he had to balance his brutal physical training with the need to study for and retake the academic entrance exam for the military. The ASVAB, which he had failed twice. He couldn't just find time, he had to make it. He reverse engineered his day. His goal was to pass the test. He identified his weakness: academics. So he did what most people are unwilling to do. He got granular, he got obsessive, created a schedule, not a loose to-do list. An airtight, minute-by-minute plan for his entire day. He would wake up at 4 a.m. From 4 to 5, he'd study. 5 to 6, run. 6 to 7, study. He broke his day into blocks and wasted nothing. TV was gone. Idle time was gone. Every moment had a purpose. This is challenge number 8. Schedule your life. Goggins tells us to stop living in the abstract. Most people have vague goals. I want to get in shape. I want to write a book. I want to start a side hustle. I think these are wishes, not plans. He says, take out a calendar, a digital one, a paper one, it doesn't matter, and schedule it. Block out the time. Don't write workout. Write Monday, 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., gym. Leg day. Don't write book. Write Tuesday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Write 500 words of chapter 3. Schedule your sleep. Schedule your meals. Schedule your downtime. By doing this, you remove the element of choice. When 6 a.m. on Tuesday rolls around, you don't have to decide if you feel like writing. The decision has already been made. It's on the schedule. Your job is not to feel, it's to execute. This is how you beat the myth of talent. The person who looks talented is often just someone with a superior work ethic enabled by a superior structure. They aren't finding time. They are making it. They are optimizing their 24 hours while you are letting yours slip away. Your life is a war for time. Win the war on paper first. Create a schedule that reflects your goals, not your moods, and then live by it. That is the path to maximizing your potential. There's no talent required. Chapter 9. Uncommon amongst uncommon. Goggins achieves the impossible. He becomes a Navy SEAL. He's made it. He is now, officially, uncommon. He is one of the world's elite warriors. For most people, this would be the summit, the peak of the mountain. Time to relax, coast on the achievement, and enjoy the status. And this, Goggins warns us, is the most dangerous moment of all. Complacency. He noticed a pattern. Even among the SEALs, the best of the best, there was a tendency to ease up once the goal was achieved. They had earned the badge. They had survived Hell Week. They could afford to relax a little. Goggins saw this as a profound weakness. For him, graduating Bud S wasn't the finish line. It was just the new starting line. The real challenge wasn't becoming a SEAL. It was being the best SEAL. He wanted to be uncommon amongst uncommon. While others were sleeping in, he was up early, running. While others were satisfied with the team standard, he was creating his own, higher standard. He was constantly looking for the next evolution, the next challenge, the next way to get an edge. He understood a fundamental truth. Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. The moment you believe you have made it, you have already started to decline. This is challenge number 9. Sustain excellence. Look at your life. Where have you become complacent? Did you get the degree and then stop learning? Did you get the promotion and then start coasting? Did you achieve a fitness goal and then fall back into old habits? The challenge is to never be satisfied. Once you achieve a goal, you must immediately set a new one, a harder one. This isn't about a joyless existence. It's about understanding that fulfillment comes from the pursuit, not the destination. It comes from the constant process of becoming. Goggins says you should have a what's next mentality. When you finish a big project, take a moment to celebrate. And then, that same day, sit down and map out what is next on the agenda. Do not let your mind get soft. Do not let your wins become a recliner. Let them be a foundation upon which you build the next taller structure. The world is full of talented people who got good at something and then stopped. The truly elite, the ones who changed the game, are the ones who are never, ever satisfied with their last performance. They are in a constant state of evolution. They live at the edge of their own potential, always pushing it further out. Chapter 10. The Empowerment of Failure. Goggins wanted to break the world record for the most pull-ups in 24 hours. It was a massive public undertaking. He trained obsessively. He showed up on the Today Show to do it. And he failed. Miserably. His hands tore open. His body gave out. It was a humiliating public defeat. For many, this would be the end of the story. A cautionary tale about hubris. But for Goggins, it was something else entirely. It was data. He realized that in his rage to attack the record, he had skipped the crucial step of analysis. He had relied on brute force instead of strategy, did not let the failure define him, let it instruct him. He developed a process he calls the after-action report. It's a concept borrowed from the military, used to dissect every mission, win or lose, to find lessons for the future. He took out a notebook and analyzed his failure with zero emotion. How can I fix it for next time? He wrote down every mistake. His form was sloppy. His preparation was one-dimensional. Support team wasn't optimized. He dissected the failure into 100 tiny pieces, and for each piece, he developed a better strategy. This is challenge number 10. Conduct an after-action report. Failure is inevitable on the path to greatness. Most of us have a terrible relationship with it. We feel shame, we get discouraged, we hide from it. Or worse, we try the same thing again, hoping for a different result. Goggins teaches us to reframe it. Failure is not a judgment. It is the best teacher you will ever have, but only if you are willing to sit in its classroom. The next time you fail at a project, in a relationship, toward a goal, you must do an AAR. Don't just move on. Sit down with a pen and paper when the emotions are still raw. Be ruthlessly honest. Write down what you did well. There are always some positives. And write down what you did wrong. Be specific. Don't say I wasn't prepared. Say I only studied for 2 hours when I needed 10. I waited until the last minute. Most importantly, create a concrete step-by-step plan to implement those lessons for the next attempt. Turn your failure into a blueprint for your future success. Goggins went back and broke the pull-up record on his 3rd attempt, not because he got stronger, but because he got smarter. He learned how to fail well. Embrace your failures. Study them. Learn from them, because within the ashes of every defeat lies the seed of your next victory. Chapter 11. What if? And so, we arrive at the end of the path. We have faced our past, stood before the mirror, embraced discomfort, taken souls, armored our minds, filled our cookie jars, broken the 40% rule, mastered our schedule, rejected complacency, and learned from our failures. What is left? Only the most important and most haunting question of all. The one that Goggins uses to fuel his entire existence. What if? What if I could be more? What if I trained harder? What if I studied longer? What if I pushed past that voice just one more time? This is not a question of anxiety. It is a question of curiosity. It is the engine of human potential. Goggins is not driven by a desire for fame or money. He is haunted by the specter of his own untapped potential. He is terrified of reaching the end of his life and knowing with deep regret that he left gas in the tank, that there was a version of himself he never got to meet because he chose comfort over growth. He runs ultramarathons and endures unimaginable pain, not because he loves pain, but because he is on a quest to find the absolute limit of David Goggins. Every time he thinks he's found it, he discovers there is more. This is the final, unspoken challenge of the book. It's not a task to be completed. It's a question to be lived. Look at your own life right now. At the end of it all, when you are looking back, what will your what-ifs be? What if I had started that business? What if I had taken that trip? What if I had told them I loved them? What if I had just tried a little bit harder? Or will you be able to say, I have no what-ifs. I gave it everything I had. I tried. I failed. I learned. I got back up. I lived a life so full of effort and exploration that I have no lingering questions about what I could have been, because I spent every day trying to find out. That is the choice. Can't Hurt Me is not a book about becoming David Goggins. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL or an ultramarathoner. It's a book about becoming the most complete, most resilient, most actualized version of yourself. It's an invitation to stop living at 40% and to go on a lifelong journey to discover what lies in that other 60%. The path is not easy. It is in fact guaranteed to be painful. But on the other side of that pain is not just success. It's peace. The peace that comes from knowing you did not waste the gift of your own life. So what if? The question is yours to answer. So we come to the end of the book, but not the end of the journey. Because what Goggins leaves us with isn't just a collection of stories and challenges, it's a key. A key to a door inside of us we rarely dare to open. The door to the part of our soul that has been quieted, softened, and told to sit down. The truth is, this was never really about running 100 miles. It was never about doing 4,000 pull-ups. It was about that moment, at 5 a.m., when the alarm goes off and the only thing you want in the world is the warmth of your blankets, and that soft, reasonable voice whispers, "It's okay. You're tired. You deserve a rest. Just skip today." This book is about what you do in that moment. It's about the lies we tell ourselves. It's a little treaties we sign with mediocrity every single day. We think they keep us safe. We think they're a form of self-care. But what if they're not? What if they're the bars of a comfortable cage? Goggins' story holds up a mirror that is almost too bright to look at. And in its reflection, we see ourselves. We see the excuses we've polished until they shine. We see the potential we've buried under a mountain of comfort. And that can be a painful thing to see. But this is not about hating the person you are. It's about loving the person you could be. So much that you are finally willing to go to war for them. It changes the way you live, because suddenly, every day presents a choice. Will I build the person I want to be, or will I feed the person I'm trying to leave behind? The cold shower, the early morning, the difficult task. They stop being punishments, become acts of profound self-respect. It changes the way you think, because you realize that the feeling of "I can't" is not a fact. It's a suggestion, it's a negotiation, and you can learn to say no to it. You learn that your mind can be your greatest adversary, or it can be forged into your greatest weapon. The choice is yours. And it even changes the way you love. Because how can you truly show up for others if you won't even show up for yourself? The discipline you build, the resilience you forge, that becomes your gift to the people you care about. You become reliable. You become a rock. You become someone whose strength others can count on because you have fought the battles within and earned it. You become a person whose "I love you" is backed by the integrity of someone who does the hard things, even when no one is watching. This conversation doesn't have to end when the screen goes dark. In a way, it's just beginning. Down in the comments, it's not just a section for algorithms. It's a space where we can continue this journey. I'd be honored if you shared just one thing. What is the first cookie you're going to put in your cookie jar? Your first piece of evidence that you are more than that soft voice as you are. Let's build our own collective cookie jar right here. If this story and these ideas sparked something in you, if you felt that flicker of recognition, a simple like on the video is a quiet way of saying you felt it too. It lets me know that we're not alone on this path. And finally, if you want to continue walking these roads together, to explore the maps left behind by the world's most uncommon minds and apply them to our own lives, then consider subscribing. This isn't just a channel, it's a crew, and we're just getting started. Stay hard.